how to do a natural looking makeup. A lot of times you're gonna be on set and you're gonna be working with characters that are on screen, but they are at home, they're relaxed, the character itself is not wearing any makeup, but the actor who's playing the character has to have makeup to make them look not shiny or make their skin clear, take away any blemishes, things of that nature. So we're just gonna take you through a few steps that are gonna show you how to do a natural looking makeup. So these are just a few of the products that you might need for a natural looking makeup. And you can see based on all of these products that it's not necessarily a natural thing. You do need a lot of products sometimes to do this makeup. Here are some of the brushes that I might use: an angled fluff, a foundation brush, my spoolie brush, a buffing foundation brush, eyeshadow brushes, a concealer brush, and a flat brush. I've got a matte bone shadow. I have a matte flesh tone blush, my eyeshadow primer, an eyebrow pencil, my disposable mascara wands, mascara. I have my concealer palette, an eyebrow palette, my foundation palette, my contouring and highlighting palette, and I have a light gel blush stain that I'm gonna use. And of course, my eyelash curler. And then we're gonna find our skincare. Rose water, I've got a tinted primer, and I have moisture spray. So before I begin anything, I start with curling the eyelashes. So close, or yeah, that's perfect actually. And I'm gonna obviously make sure that I'm not grabbing any skin, and it's difficult because I wanna get so close to that eyelid, but I also don't wanna rip out any of her eyelashes. So having a good balance of being in nice and tight without pinching the eyelids or pulling out the eyelashes is pretty important. So I do the eyelashes first. So any tearing, any type of possible mistakes of ruining the makeup that I've applied is limited. She's not gonna tear on the makeup that I've done. And I do a quick wash of the skin, and then I go over it with rose water. Just a spritz. Helps refresh and balance the pH of the skin and starts our moisturizing process. Then I move in to an oil-free, nourishing moisturizer. And I've grabbed the smallest brush known to man for no reason. So let me get a bigger one. I don't need to be as detailed with my moisturizer application. Just need to get it on. An even application to help keep the skin smooth and supple. And when you're doing a natural makeup, the skin is the power move. The skin is what you want to look the best because it's at the forefront. Next, I'm going to go ahead and apply the primer. And I'm just using the lavender-based one, and it's just gonna pump up her skin tone. Just add a little bit of radiance. And also help the makeup to stick to the skin a little longer. And then make sure that it's an even finish. For this lesson, I normally already have my makeup out and ready to go, but I want to show you how to match a foundation as much as possible. So I take my palette and I can already start to see the tones that are working with my client's skin. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick something that is a little darker when I'm looking right at it. And what I'm gonna do is just start to apply and look at it in the light and blend it out a little bit. So we can see this has a little bit more of a yellow tint to it. Now I can move down the ladder and see if a lighter color would be more beneficial. But I think the lighter color would be too light, so I can mix the two. And this is a process of trial and error. Sometimes you get it right on the money right away, but if you don't, having these colors handy and then just applying them, you don't have to talk to your client about it. There we go. You just start doing it and matching it up. And we can see how that's really looking amazing with her neck skin tone. And it'll blend all in together. So I'm gonna go with that very fair tone. Yeah, that's looking great. I'm gonna grab my big foundation brush. And I'm just gonna begin applying the cream. Down the center of the nose, down the center of the face is where my focal point is. Where all the redness is usually hiding out, especially under the nose area, around the chin. And then you can start blending out the color. But with the brunt of the coverage on the areas that might need it the most. We'll start our concealer process right away. So with brushes, you can either go with a buffing foundation brush. And this is nice. It does give like a really great airbrushed finish. But depending on what type of finish you want, whether you want a dewy look or you want a matte finish, for me, skin naturally has a little bit of a stickiness to it, that slightly, just that natural skin fleshy finish to it. So I always like to use a beauty blender or a makeup sponge with that's wet, and it helps to keep that skin looking hydrated. And nourish. And then any areas that have a little bit too much foundation, or it's just a little too concentrated in one area, that sponge, I'm just holding for sound, or any area that's too concentrated, it'll help to disperse that color in a very even way. And now the same process with the concealer. I'm not going to do too much contouring. I just want to make her skin look flawless and fabulous. So I'm going to go in. If I've already used the lightest tones, I'm going to go ahead and use the lighter tone. And with any under eye discoloration, so she's got a little bit, it's a little bit of a blue. So I'll just take a soft peach tone. And I'll go in first with the color corrector. You'll always find that the brunt of any discoloration, it's usually towards the center of the face, closer towards the nose. And now I'll just go right over it with the concealer that's more towards her skin tone. This color's a little light. We're gonna blend it on out. And we're still gonna get this amazing cheekbone to come join us. And excuse me, with a heavy cream, the sponge still has the rose water on it and it's still moist, so it's gonna help to dissipate that concealer and give it a real light application. So there's not just this big old thing of concealer. And then if you've taken off too much of the coverage because you made it too thin, you can just go in with more makeup. We could leave this alone if this was an early morning character that just woke up. But we want to give her some of her coloring back. But what's great is she's got a natural tone coming in through her cheeks. It's just gorgeous. We're gonna add a little bit more. And I'm gonna go right in with my gel blush. I mean, I can go in with some contour, but I wanna see how this color looks right away. And it's a stain. So right after the iris and above the nose, and just right under that cheekbone, right there. Not in a contour way, but the natural blood flow on the cheeks. And you can see hers comes in right here, actually. So now we're getting some color in there, but it's soft. And I'm keeping the brunt of the color in this small area. Just a little bit on the forehead. Yeah, I don't even think I would want to do any contour with this. Her bone structure is already pretty flawless. Just giving some color. And I like all the natural tones that she has in her eyelid. I don't even really want to take those away. But I do need to put some eyeshadow because I've put some creams near there, and if it creases, I would never forgive myself. So just make sure it's all nice and blended. But I just want to do a light wash. I'm going to use this very matte bone tone as the crease color because I don't want to take any of her natural coloring out, but I do want to set any creams that I put on there. You could leave her eyebrows natural as if these are her eyebrows and she just woke up. Or we can go ahead and put some eyebrows on because we love it so much. And just fill in a little bit of the sparse, any little sparse spots. And give her just a smidgen of a tail, more tail. But keep it looking natural. So we're gonna blend it. We don't want to look at her and see makeup. We want to look at her. And you don't want to think about the makeup when it's a natural look. And when people tell you, oh, we're only going to pay you this much because it's just a natural look. You can see I've already used a lot of product. I've spent a considerable amount of time already, not as much as I would on a full makeup, but it's not any less, it's not too much less work. You're still doing a full face. The colors that you use is different, the textures are different, but the work, especially if you have a lot of actors, it's still the same. The process is very similar. And I'm still using all my stuff. So don't let them get you with that. So I'm gonna blend it, but you can see this color is just a tad bit on the red side. So we're gonna go in with an even more ashy tone powder, and I always go in with powder afterwards no matter what I'm using to set the pencils or the cream eyeshadows. So I'm just gonna use my little eyebrow palette. I'm gonna get that dark one and I'm gonna mix it so it's not so dark. I'm gonna tap out my brush and I'm just gonna stipple ever so softly. And if I get it a little too dark, it's okay. I'm gonna go in with a spoolie brush and I'm gonna blend it out. And I do wanna make these look as natural as possible. And sometimes I just start having too much fun and get too makeup artisty, and I wanna make them look like she's not wearing any makeup. So I'm gonna blend out this. Just keep it looking soft. Have it fade out towards the end. And I'm gonna brush her eyebrows down and then off to the side to kind of get a little comb over action there. And here I could stop and I would be totally okay with that. I would love this makeup. Let's set it with some powder. And I'm gonna just go ahead and use my Beauty Blender because I love using sponges to put my powder on. I don't wanna see the powder, and powder can be tricky sometimes. I just wanna take off the shine, but still have it keep looking like skin. But you know what I'm talking about when you just see this little bit of layer of powder on the nose. So I start applying with my sponge down the T-zone. I don't wanna put it in here because I like how that skin's looking like skin. But blending out the powder, and because the sponge is moist, it takes off that powder look. And you could just apply a little bit of lip balm, maybe a brown mascara, or some brow gel, very thin formula, onto the mascara. But this is a very, and she's got dark lashes, even an eyeliner. You don't have to have it, but if you're gonna put eyeliner, especially if someone is really blonde and they have blonde eyelashes, but we wanna make them stand out a little, go ahead and look up. I'm just taking a little brown powder and touching it into the lash line. And a natural looking makeup is very similar to how I would do male grooming. Just making the skin look flawless, touching up any blemishes, close your eyes, accentuating the eyes ever so delicately. Nothing fancy, just making them look clean and fresh and how according to their character. Just very simple. So when you're doing a natural looking makeup, you're basically taking the natural tones of your client's skin and just enhancing them a little bit, making the skin look flawless. Nothing crazy, very simple, but still highly effective.